welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry. We are now going into our third week of training camp. It doesn't seem like it is, but we are.
Yeah.
And in this camp, we've had some stars shine and some stars fade a little bit, but let's go over some notes. Robbie Anderson missed a couple practices this week due to an excused family matter. And Terrace Marshall, one of the stars I was talking about, has taken his place and taken those, starter reps opposite DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Matt Rule actually came out and said that they were trying to force feed Marshall and bring him up to speed as fast as they can. I think that's a good sign for the Panthers organization, a bad sign for Robbie Anderson, even though he's on this team for this year. I think the writing's on the wall that he will not be brought back because he'll cost too much money, and I think they're expecting Terrace Marshall to really step up.
Yeah, I think Robbie Anderson, he's back now. Obviously, he just missed a couple of days, but he is back now. And his first day back from practice, he made a couple of incredible catches. So,
yes,
I don't think his job is his spot on the team is in jeopardy this year. I know that's not what you're saying, but yeah, I agree. I think Terrace Marshall has shown a lot, and that's one of my notes. Is Terrace Marshall just keeps making plays and looking good out there. He may have made Robbie Anderson expendable for sure. I would love to have Robbie Anderson back at a reasonable price, but I don't think he's going to make $15 million a year here. And I think he could possibly make that in the open market next year, especially if he has another season like he had last year.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Because before this season, he only had an 800-yard season before coming here. Yeah. And then last year was his first 1,000-yard receiving. And this year, if he does it again, which we hope he does, I think he's going to try to get more. He got $10 million here. I expect him to try to go more 13, 15 million at least. And then it's hard to pay him here with Terrace Marshall on rookie salary that you think can step into his role.
Exactly. Robbie Anderson, I think, is an extremely talented receiver. He has so far had to deal with Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater throwing him the ball for the majority of his career. And now he's got Sam Darnold again. So hopefully the change of scenery is all that Darnold needed, because obviously the change of scenery worked out for Robbie Anderson. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I was going to say, my first note here, Sam Darnold seems to continue to be growing in confidence.
Yes.
Once the pads came on, he looked better. I mean, he's kind of looked better every day. He had that one day where the entire offense really looked bad. But it seems like since then, he has been cooking.
Well, up until today is Tuesday for all you listeners. He had struggled a little bit today. He threw an interception that was tipped. Jermaine Carter snagged it, and he threw another interception. Jeremy Chin picked him off earlier today as well.
Are you sure? I thought one of those was a PJ Walker pick.
Maybe I read it wrong. I thought he had threw 2 picks today, but either way,
he did throw a pick or 2 today. And that's another that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, and just very briefly, how do you feel when you see reports coming out that the defense is, picking off balls left and right? Does it make you feel awesome about the defense, or does it make you feel worried about the offense?
I have mixed feelings, because I've heard some players say, this is when you throw interceptions. You try to figure out what scheme works for you. Hey, this in route just doesn't seem to work on this play for us. It kind of drops the linebacker into that zone that they can easily pick it. And they redesign plays because of that. Yeah. So it's a mixed bag. Especially
they're still getting timing down and stuff too. Darnold's new to this offense. A lot of these receivers are new. Yeah.
And that's another point. Everything's new. You got to get used to everything. I take it. I can't speak. Sorry. I take it as a mixed bag, because yes, you want them to do well, but at the same time, this is the time to make those mistakes. This is the time to figure it out as a team on both sides.
I agree. Yep. I agree. And honestly, it makes me feel better about the defense, because they're taking the opportunities that are coming at them.
Mm-hmm.
They are making those plays, and it doesn't make me feel terrible about the offense yet, for everything that we talked about. So yeah, that just very quickly. You mentioned Jermaine Carter. He has taken a lot of advantage of the fact that Denzel Perryman has been out with an injury, and it appears like he will be out for some time. And you mentioned this on our last podcast, but Matt Rule reiterated within the last couple of days that he was talking about Perryman, said it didn't look like he was close to coming back. So Carter, spoiler alert, is listed as a starter on the unofficial depth chart that was released today. So he has obviously been making a lot of plays, and he is definitely on the rising stars list.
Oh yeah,
of my training camp.
Yeah, same here. I mean, Jermaine Carter, again, I reiterate this. The defense was so much better last year once he stepped into that starting role.
Yep.
And it looks like, Denzel Perryman's injury has given him opportunity, and he's taken full reign of that. Good for him.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to see.
Yep. And we weren't sure if that was because, last year was because Whitehead was just so bad.
God, he was
anybody
really
in there was going to make the defense look better. But it looks like he's a legitimate talent. So I'm excited about that.
I am too, especially because our linebacking core is not the deepest. Hassan Reddick's more of a defensive end linebacker combo, right. More like pass rusher, just edge rusher.
Yep.
So, and Jermaine Carter is more the mold of a linebacker.
Right. Yep.
Moving on, Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold is becoming the second biggest star of the camp besides Terrace Marshall. Every day, I am hearing another Dan Arnold touchdown, another Dan Arnold spectacular catch. We may have found a tight end for this offense, at least pass catching tight end.
Right. And Rule even talked about, I think he was asked, is it going to telegraph plays when you've got Trimble or Ian Thomas in there as opposed to Arnold, because it seems like those are your blocking tight ends. Arnold's going to be your receiving tight end. And he said, well, Arnold can block a little bit too, so we're not going to try to telegraph things that much. So, Dan Arnold is really becoming he and Darnold's, and that is going to be a real tongue twister come the season.
Darnold to Arnold.
Darnold to D Arnold. It's really becoming a thing. And I'm really excited about it. We talked all last year about the lack of tight end on this offense and how, especially me, I felt it really hurt the offense. And I was not super excited about Dan Arnold when we signed him. I didn't know really what to expect from him, so I didn't expect a lot. And I am a fan. Like, he is, I have real high expectations now for the season. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't miss the tight end as much just because I didn't know if that was more Joe Brady's scheme,
right?
Or, and Curtis Samuel did a lot of underneath routes that kind of were a tight end. So I'll be interested how they go, especially when we talk about the depth chart, how they set it up. So I'll be very interested. But Dan Arnold, you go, man. I'm very pumped to see this with you.
I'm real excited about him. Real quick, I just want to mention a couple of quick things before we get to offensive line, which I think is going to be a real conversation. Brian Birds continues to look awesome. He's in the backfield early and often. It seems like every play that he has an opportunity to get back there, he's back there. And then Sean Chandler, one of the safeties that they signed, is a surprise. Like, Matt Rule seems to be extremely excited about him, says he makes a play every day. Well, and safety is a position that we need help at.
Yeah, because Sean Chandler was, drafted out of Temple when Matt Rule was there, so he knows him. Yep. But I heard the same thing, that Sean Chandler has been making some waves, and that it'll be very interesting if he takes up one of those backup roles that, Sam Franklin or Kenny Robinson currently have, just because, Justin Burris, I think you and I are both on the same bandwagon of, he is the weak spot of that defense where you're just like, can we get somebody better? Somebody honestly,
Yeah.
At least
if you
show
look,
upside. This guy doesn't
yeah.
seem to have that upside either. He's just a guy.
Yeah. Look down just look down when we get to the depth chart. We're going to hit, star, Justin Burris, star. Like, I mean, it's going to be, it's a real, it is blinding.
Potential star.
Right.
They're not all stars, but they all have potential to break out to be, very good players for this team. And
they're all stars. Jermaine Carter Jr. is a star. They're obviously I'm joking a little bit, but
impact players.
It's a glaring weakness on the team.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready to do it?
Are we going to talk about another glaring weakness on the team?
No. Actually, yes, we are. So this team lost a lot of leadership in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, and just all over this field, this team lost a lot of leaders. Mm-hmm. One player who I am shocked to hear is actually stepping up into the leadership role is Dante Jackson. Mm-hmm. Supposedly he called an all defensive meeting the other day before practice, really. And I keep hearing his name being the leader among the defense. And I was a little shocked, not negatively, just sure. Because of the
pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. His rookie season, they did the all or nothing. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
And he seemed to not get it. And it looks like he's gotten it and he's now in charge of that defense. Not Brian Burns. It doesn't seem like Shaq Thompson, I'm kind of surprised never took that role, but it doesn't seem like he did. But Dante Jackson has, and I'm very happy and I'm very excited to see what he does this season.
Yeah, he has definitely matured, as it seems like we've seen the maturation as a player, and it seems like he's matured as a person as well, which is great. And if he can kind of step up and be a leader for this team that desperately, I think, needs leadership, especially on the defensive side where everybody's so young. You've got Daquan Jones who came in, AJ Bouye who came in, that are veteran players, but they're new to the team. And it might be a little unfair to ask them to come in and immediately establish a leadership role. Dante Jackson's, one of the veterans on this team, on this defense right now. So it does kind of fall to him. And I'm glad it sounds like he's kind of taking that opportunity.
And that rookie season too, you're talking about an early 20-year-old,
right.
Let's be honest. I'm at 21, 22. I matured a lot in those 3 years to 25 or so.
Oh yeah.
Or till now I'm almost 40. So I haven't reached that pinnacle.
You're getting there. All right. Let's talk about the offensive line real quick. And actually, let's go ahead and just mention that David Moore, offensive lineman that was picked up as a undrafted free agent. The Panthers released him earlier this week. He was claimed by the Jets and was considered, I think, if not one of the biggest undrafted free agents, not size-wise, but, just talent-wise that was out there, and the Panthers were able to get him. They did release him, which is a little surprising to me and you, especially you. You were very surprised by the timing, I guess, of him being released.
I thought he would be one of those last roster spots that he filled up, that last extra offensive lineman or even a practice squad type of guy. But no, they released him so early. I mean, I guess he just was not clicking with this scheme that the Panthers organization wants to run.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be it, because a guy that you pick up as an undrafted free agent, you figure you're going to understand that he's not going to come in as a starter, right? Yeah. That he is a project. There is a reason that he was undrafted. So in that sense, I'm not surprised they released him, but in the sense that they did, they ponied up for him as an undrafted free agent. They went out and got him. They thought enough of him to bring him in. To give up on him before the first preseason game even is a little surprising.
Yeah,
it is. And especially when we're talking about the offensive line, which is not one of the strengths of this team. Right.
We're talking about potential star on defense on every position. Our offensive line does not have that.
No,
we have one star.
Yeah. We have one, Taylor Moton, who has been playing a lot of left tackle recently. And, maybe because they just want to try him out there. Obviously they do, but a lot of that is, there's some guys that are missing some time right now.
And I think I figured out what the plan is. I think Cam Irving's the left tackle. I think they have him set at left tackle, but if he goes down, they don't trust anybody else besides Taylor Moton over there. That's exactly what happens is Cam Irving missed some practice due to a minor injury. And they immediately moved Taylor Moton over to left tackle and push Brady Christensen on right tackle. So it looks like we have one left tackle and they don't trust anybody besides Taylor Moton to fill in there.
Yeah, they're treating Cam Irving right now like he is a very fragile piece of glass. They desperately don't want anything to happen to him. But it's a good thing. Obviously, we weren't excited about some of these offensive line signings when they happened. Sounds like it's a good thing we got Cam Irving because otherwise there's not a defense or a left tackle on this team. Pat Elflein has been playing some center with Matt Paradis out. I think kind of the same type of deal there. Matt Paradis really the only true center on this team.
Well, Pat Elflein has played center before in Minnesota as well, so he has a lot of experience. And I've heard some people think that may be the plan long term is maybe have him scoot over to center when Paradis's contract is up next year.
Okay. Well, yeah, and that's another thing is Paradis is definitely in a contract year. This is the last of his 3-year, $27 million deal I think he had. So, and we were all so excited when they signed him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So we'll see. I did hear that they Matt Rule is referring to Dennis Daly as a super guard. So I think his days at tackle are done, barring obviously any injuries or anything. It sounds like he's set at guard. I haven't heard a lot from Greg Little.
No, me neither. Greg Little is just the second round pick that is never talked about by this organization. Yeah. It looks like we're going to have a big whiff on a second and third round pick, I think in the same year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because Greg Little, man, I don't get it, man. You had the talent. It looks like you didn't put it together on this organization.
Yep. All right. Well, that's week 2 of training camp.
We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. Please leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on our show. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I always forget to say that one. So
we will be back on Sunday afternoon after the game. We'll have our recap, what we liked, what we didn't like, our stars of the game, a light recap episode, but there's going to be a lot to talk about. So looking forward to that as much as I'm looking forward to the game itself. But until then, everybody, stay safe out there and keep pounding.